Thanks very much for inviting me. I think, I guess the energy of this cafe session before that is hard to compete with. And I don't blame you for being more excited about the companies that were presenting to you at the cafe than about listening to me. So I find them equally exciting. So thanks very much for the opportunity. When I was invited to talk here a few months ago, I was like, this is a great topic. Maybe in a few months we'll know enough about it to actually talk. So chalo, let's take a chance and agree. So I'm going to share what we know today. Everything, I know, as you all know, you all are in the thick of things. So every few weeks we update our knowledge. So hopefully what I'm talking about today has some shelf life, but given how things are moving, it probably is only going to be a few months. So, but at least let's see what we step back and see what we've learned so far and where we can go with it and what we know about it right now. So, I think as was said in the intro, I'm going to talk a little bit about. So I will obviously focus a lot on business impact. So this is a business impact-driven presentation. You all know much more than I do about the tech aspects of deploying these solutions. And there are many more people around the world who know a lot more than all of us about that. So I'm not going to try and step into the area of expertise of others who know more, but talk a little bit around around a business impact-centered view of AI deployment. And that goes all the way, including to risk and how we mitigate against that. But really, what we are learning from the few examples that we have, there are very few real examples of scale deployments. Whenever our clients ask us, bring me an example of somebody else who's done this. Consultants are normally very good at that. It was like, but there isn't. You'll be the first. So but do you want to take that chance and do it? And there are very few who actually want to take that chance, and hence there are very few examples. So it's a little bit of a vicious circle we are caught in. So let me, I'm going to, before I sort of talk a little bit about where things are, I want to just throw one challenge to this room because, in a sense, you all are and have been the innovators in your companies. And I don't know today, with respect to AI, whether you feel like you're the innovators in your companies or you are the voice of reason, holding innovation back and measuring it. So I don't know. Maybe we do a show of hands. So how many people feel like we are leading the innovation within our companies? We are the voice of innovation. Yeah. And how many of you feel like we are actually being the voice of reason and holding sort of things back and trying to do this at a measured pace? No one is, and the others are sort of haven't decided whether which side they're on. So that's interesting. I think that state of confusion represents the general state of confusion about what to do with this great set of opportunities that we've been presented at within AI. So I generally am an optimist with respect to new tech. I've seen the journey with digital over the last decade and a half and how things have moved. I see AI moving exactly the same way. In fact, you can draw a perfect one-to-one analogy in terms of how it's moving. It's just moving much faster, so it's a little difficult. It's harder to track. But the behaviors, the opportunities, the behaviors, the what's needed to succeed, etc., are all almost the same. And so the good news to me is that while this all looks very confusing right now, and there are lots of opportunity, but there are equal number of risks, etc. One thing I think we can rest assured. The answers are all there. We'll find them like we found for digital, right? Most companies today have deployed, significant amounts of digital solutions across functions, customer-facing, internal, etc. And we all figured out how to make it work. Obviously, most people are not very happy with them, and not much business impact has come from them. But at least the solutions are deployed and they are working. And so I think the idea here is that we will find a solution. We will find a way to deploy these. That's the general message. But will we get the business impact or not? We actually don't have a very good track record, honestly, as an industry and as a tech sector and as tech innovation leaders. I have to say we don't have a great track record. All of us, don't have a great track record in really delivering sizable business impact from the last round of innovation. You may feel that's unfair, but I'm just putting it out there as a provocation. And I think we have another opportunity now with AI to do another round of transformation. And this time, we have an opportunity to deliver maybe even bigger business impact potentially at lower cost. Because we've already built a lot of plumbing, we've built a lot of the rails, right? A lot of the basic automation is in place, a lot of systems are today API enabled, microservices are in place. Today we can actually build on that, and therefore at lower cost we should be able to deliver business impact. That's our challenge. So that's what my presentation is going to be about. In the US, where a lot of this innovation is happening, I would say that I'm now just from reading the way people are talking on the user side. There was a lot of excitement last year. There was a lot of excitement in the first half of this year. But last 3-4 months, there's lots of noise now around, oh, it's not really delivering value. So everything is happening faster. In digital, it took 5-7 years before that skepticism started to come. Right? A lot of deployments happened, a lot of money was spent, and then that skepticism started to come. I think in AI, it's coming sooner. So it's not even, I mean, we've not even realized the business value, and already skepticism coming in. So in a sense, it may once again be a chance for this room, for many more people. I think about 20-30% put up their hand. It may be another opportunity for not 20-30%, but for 100% of this room to actually say, we will be the innovation leaders again, and we will have the playbook to actually deliver business impact. And that's my attempt to try and instigate all of you to try and to do that. So that's, we've talked about trillions of dollars of impact. Nobody has seen even $1 billion of impact yet. So there's lots of numbers out there, lots of announcements. I have not put those skepticism announcements yet, but there are some of those also now coming. Maybe there's a slide with them. But these are all the announcements of everyone who's deploying all these AI solutions, left, right, and center. We did a survey earlier this year with people across different functions in a whole set of companies around the world. Again, it was quite US-centric, given that a lot of the innovation is happening there. And we found that almost 70% of companies, there's something, they are saying in their own view, they are deploying AI some way or the other. I'm sure if we did a survey in this room, you will find that more than 70% of people are deploying something in their companies, right? Some form of AI solution. So the problem is not in the deployment, problem is not in the POCs. There are thousands of POCs. I'm sure if you do an exercise at some point with this QR code of like getting people to add up all the POCs they're doing, you will probably find 1,000 POCs in this room only that people are, together running. So that's not the problem. Clearly, a lot of experimentation is happening, and that's actually great. I think the issue is that when we ask people in the same survey, how much business impact are you seeing, the number of people who are claiming business impact of more than, say, 8-10% in any cost base that they are attacking, not on the company as a whole, but in the cost base that they are attacking, or the revenue base that they are attacking, there are hardly anybody claiming that. And this is all self-stated, so you can imagine there will be some exaggeration over there. In many cases, as it happened in digital, people are not even measuring. In many cases, people are not even measuring the business impact. Right? So we are back to the good old habits of digital transformation, which is get the budget approved, make the business case at that point, and then forget about it. Right? That was basically what happened. And then we all got called out on it, but we said, now the system is deployed, now we have to maintain it, now people are using it, etc., etc. Many people are coming back and say, people are not even using it, because it doesn't matter if we make it better, then more people will use it. So let's spend some more money to make it better, right? And that's what's kept us all busy. But I don't think in the world of AI that will work, because there is a lot of fatigue with respect to deployment. There's a lot of excitement, but also a lot of fatigue. There's a lot of excitement, but there's a lot of skepticism as well. So where do we go from here, right? I think if we look at where has the success happened, where is the business impact happening, there are some specific functional areas where there has been substantial business impact. All of you, I'm sure, have read many of these case studies, but just to recap, I try to summarize some of them back on this page, right? So everything from, in sales and marketing, unmistakable impact. I was asked by a CMO, young CMO, a very young chief marketing officer of a company, of a young company. Just 2 weeks ago, I was asked, what do you think will be the impact of AI in marketing? And before I could answer, she said, I really don't think there's going to be that much. So I said, I beg to differ. I really feel that if you don't change your views on this, you're really not going to be able to hit the numbers that you signed up for. You're not going to be able to hit anywhere close to the revenue numbers you signed up for if you don't change your views on this, because the money is not there to pump in digital marketing anymore. So unless you use these AI tools to do your marketing in a much smarter way, it's not going to happen. So where is the impact? There's significant impact in lead generation, lead management, to the extent of 3 to 4x improvement potentially in lead conversion rates. There's significant impact in customer engagement. Again, 4 to 5x the customer engagement. So if I have the same set of things that I can engage the customer with, just the sharpshooted targeting, the genuine personalization which a deep learning model can drive, and very, very few people have, can give you 4 to 5x. We have observed that now actually in working models. And if you say that I now don't have just 4 or 5 things to engage people with, I actually have 50 things to engage people with, because I can generate a whole lot of content also to engage my customer with, then I can have much higher impact even. And the same thing is true in, say, in the Salesforce enablement. Salesforce enablement has been one of the most popular areas for AI tool deployment. I think there's a company out there which has a great tool for helping sales guys to get good collateral for meeting discussions. The problem with Salesforce enablement is that all that productivity just disappears. It gets absorbed. I mean, someone is gaining from the productivity, but sales are not going up, right? So somewhere it gets absorbed. So the question really is that what is the nature of the tool that are going to actually help them improve their conversion rates and their win rates on deals, not the ones which are just going to help them save some time, because the ones which help save some time, they're good, but they don't translate into business impact for the company. They translate into better lifestyle for the sales guys. So, that's why many of the tools that we have deployed in the past also have not led to actually business impact for the company. Then if we move to the engineering function, R&D function, there's been, again, lots of examples of faster time to market and better first time right, because of simulated testing, because of using past test data to inform, rather than doing actual testing, to use simulation models based on past data, and so on. So that's another function where we are seeing impact. You all are, of course, familiar on the right-hand side with the code development IT. I think that's now proven that we can get vendors to bring down costs, at least for new code development, to the extent of 40 to 50%. Customer support is another area where I think now they are proven. Very high quality voice agents and voice bots which are able to, latest I heard in India about 40% reduction, and the costs are obviously going down further, so that delta should improve. And then to some extent in manufacturing and supply chain, although I would say these examples are a little bit stretch. We haven't really seen great examples. These are mostly similar to the examples that we had earlier with the analytics and ML-based solutions, right? In these two areas. But in the other areas, there is business impact. Now, when you map all the potential use cases for a company, you get in most companies, you get about 60 to 70. Most large companies, you get about 60 to 70 potential AI use cases. In some companies, you may only come with 30 to 40 use cases. In most companies, you can easily come up with 60 to 70. You just go like this if you create a map. Interesting thing is, out of them, only 6 or 7 typically, at least when we have done this exercise for companies full, only 6 or 7 of them will be the ones which will deliver significant business impact. All of the others are good tools, nice tools. They might lead to some productivity improvement. They might make somebody's life easier, but they are not going to lead to significant business impact, even on paper. So the issue really is that, now imagine I have 60 to 70 projects I can potentially do. All of you will be getting demands for those projects saying, we want to do it, can you enable us, etc. But only 10% of those projects really are the ones which can deliver business impact. By the way, those 10% of the projects are also the hardest ones to execute, not because of the tech is easy, as always, the tech is relatively easy to deploy, but the problem is always in the change management, the adoption, will people really change the way they work, etc., which is required to realize that. So for instance, in lead management, if I say I am going to take my highest quality leads which are generated digitally, there'll be a call me button. I press call me. An AI agent will call up. It will have a conversation with the customer. It will do the call. It will answer basic questions. How is it better? What is it better? Technical questions. Whatever it can answer. They can answer very sophisticated questions, and they do it very, very well in natural language. They will switch from Hindi to English to whatever language, etc., etc. They will do all that dynamically. Then, if the sale can be closed digitally, they'll close it right there. They'll say, I'll just send you a link. You can pay and close. Or if the sale has to be closed in the dealership or by somebody visiting, then they will send that lead to the person who is fully qualified and ready to close, right? This is how the improvement happens. Now, if the sales team and the marketing and sales function says, okay, this is good, this is fine, but for the really high value leads, I'm not going to do this, right? For this, we will send some old, dead leads, etc. We'll put only in this through the system, right? Or we will not spend any money to generate high quality leads. We will just take some basic database marketing kind of leads here and put them over here. Then what's going to happen is you're not going to see that business uptake, right? You actually have to put good quality stuff through this. So that fighting that battle internally in the function and saying, no, let's put some high value leads through this so that you can actually see the upside, you can see the conversion, is what's required for success. So those are the battles that actually need to be fought, not the battles of actually building the solution, which of course has its own complexity. The building the solution reliably, no hallucination, all that we'll talk about in a minute. So that's, I think, the challenge that we are saying, which is that only 10% of the projects that come to us on our tables will be the substantial ones. Those will also be the ones which are going to be hardest to implement. It will be tempting to take up the other 9, not that 1 out of 10. And therefore, all of you, I'm sure, have many, many success case stories, at least POCs, etc. done. But I'm willing to bet that 9 out of 10 of those are actually in the area of not substantial business impact, good life impact, good, nice tool built, very useful, etc., but not substantial business impact. And a lot of our excitement and energy will go there, but the business impact won't get delivered. And then a few months down the line, somebody will look at the P&L and look at the costs and say, oh, you are spending so much more on cloud and so much. So, we are spending so much more on these solution vendors and now this whole LLM cost, etc. We add up all this cost. And then people start getting questions, where's the business impact? And then we will not be able to justify it. And this is exactly the pattern that's happened in the US, and that's where companies are now again questioning whether some of those deployments were useful or not. And you can see a lot of press and announcements about this happening. So, as consultants, it is our job to try and bring some method to the madness and trying to say, okay, if there's an opportunity here, how do we help companies quickly get down that path? So we have come up with the, of course, 4-step approach, etc. There's no rocket science here. I just want to describe a couple of things here that we've learned, and then I want to have talk about just 2 slides on the how-to and the learnings on the how-to, which again you all will have many more of, but as we are starting to build this knowledge, I'm starting to put it. It's not this playbook, I would say, is only 10% done, but it's a 10% ready playbook. So number 1, identifying all the process job within the function, not difficulty. Mapping what AI solution is useful for which type of job, right, is a useful exercise, because this tells you where you're going to get transformational impact and where you're not going to get that business transformational impact, where you'll get a nice, So we map on 2 dimensions. One is a human necessary in the loop or not? Second is intelligence going to be relevant or not in this job, right? Is learned intelligence going to be relevant, or is it just a simple workflow, right? That's basically the second dimension. So if a human is necessary in the loop, why is a human necessary? Either because the human is at the interface, like a lawyer presenting in the courtroom, a sales guy talking to a customer, or an insurance agent talking to a customer, etc. Or a human may be required in the loop because the cost of error is so high that the human has to be there to make sure that you don't make a huge mistake, right? Like it may be in, say, financial transactions and so on. If a human is required in the loop, but there's no intelligence, it's just a simple workflow, then you have a simple tool. It's a tool for developing content, tool for giving reports, etc. There are many of these. Maximum number of deployments today are of this type. They are tools, they're meant for a certain group of people. They can use it, they can save time with these tools, and it's great, and they're happy. That's the maximum number of deployments that you see. That's also the maximum potential projects you see. Below that is what we call these autonomous agents, which are workflow agents, where wherever we have automated a workflow, like a customer service call. You're not supposed to use big intelligence and learning. There's a simple script you have to follow. Now, instead of a human being following it, it's an AI agent who is following that script. And so that is the second case, lower left side. On the right-hand side is actually where the real power of AI is, where now the tool is getting smarter and smarter than the human. So the AI co-pilots, where you have a human in the loop, but the tool is advising them. This tool is not just telling the sales guy, giving the summary report to take to the meeting. Now it's telling the salesperson who to go to when, who to ping on what item, what is the reading from the meeting minutes, what are the opportunities being identified, right? Things which actually improve win rate. And on the bottom right are the intelligent agents, which are completely autonomous and are learning continuously. So in the area of customer engagement, for instance, personalized customer engagement, you all are familiar with the old way in which customer engagement was done, this n equal to 1 stuff, which was not actually n equal to 1, which was where we used to build propensity models and we used to run campaigns and on the database and then keep updating the propensity models. All banks and all have these propensity models. But that's not really n equal to 1 personalization. N equal to 1 personalization is what Netflix does, Amazon does, etc. Right? There are deep learning models or Instagram does, right? Where they are constantly learning about you through every interaction, throwing some stimulus at you, learning, etc. And your lookalikes are not mapped in a propensity model, they're mapped in a neural network. So that kind of technology is available today to deploy, and if you deploy that kind of technology, you can get autonomous agents, intelligent agents to engage with customers, for instance. And it's completely automated. There's no propensity modeling. There's no campaign management. None of that happening. It's a fully automated system running. It sends the right message to the right customer at the right time. It learns with that. All you have to do is you have to keep putting content into it. To keep putting content into it so that it has fresh content to keep sending to people. Content, offers, etc. You keep putting. So those are the 4 types of things. It's very easy. When you do the even simple back of the envelope math, you know that intelligent agents are typically the play where the maximum business impact is coming. Co-pilots can also be impactful, but they have to be the co-pilots which increase the conversion rate, win rate, etc. Autonomous agents are good for reducing cost in places where you have high cost base. In India, also we are seeing it, but typically, obviously, in the West, where the labor costs are higher, you will see higher impact from those. And with tools, it's very hard to expect business impact. Most of the cases, I don't want to generalize, but in most cases, you won't see big business impact. When I say big business impact, it's the same benchmark that we use for digital transformation, which means if my EBITDA can be increased by 5%, that's something that by that initiative, then it's transformational business impact. If it's less than that, then it's typically not going to be a transformational initiative. Then obviously, based on feasibility, one can easily classify these. You can do impact feasibility matrix. You can classify them into should I do it immediately, should I do it later, etc. The most important thing is that the 5 or 6 projects that come into the wave 1, right? Even if I do just one of them, and I create a transformational business impact case study, I will have one of the only ones in the industry. I'll probably have one of the only ones in the country. So that, to my challenge to the group is, that in your company, if you can just take one of these transformational case studies and make it a proven business case by December or by Diwali, right? Then you will have one of the only ones in the industry. Collectively in the room, I don't know how many people are in the room, but let's say even if you have 50 to 100 case studies in the industry, that is what is going to be emulated by all the other companies. So the immediate challenge where we are standing today is that can we, in our company, just get one of those, right? Just one of those. We don't need AI strategy. We don't need roadmap. We don't even have to do any of this stuff which is on this that I talked about, right? Just do that one which delivers a transformational business impact, and it'll probably be one of those areas which I mentioned. It'll probably be one of the areas that I mentioned in the previous page. Those are generic. Of course, there are some industries where there are very specific functions where you can get impact, so that those also may be there. Like, for instance, risk management or collections in the case of financial services and so on. So there are specific areas obviously one can get, but in general, the generic functional list I shared. Now, in terms of the checklist for execution, because we have heard a lot of issues that are potentially going to happen with these deployments, and and there are a lot of people, including some of the people in this room, I have to say, who are scaring the company about saying that there are a lot of things that can go wrong. Therefore, we have to learn from the past, and let's be very careful. Let's not do these things, and rightly so. So there is a emerging checklist. Okay, every consultant, every tech vendor, everyone has got their own version of the checklist. We are also trying to develop some version of checklist which is mainly geared around safeguarding impact, while at the same time making sure that the deployment is secure. The first thing that we realize is a new function here is this whole testing and training, right? Integration was always there. Integration is always tasked. You can build the fanciest AI solution, but it has to be integrated. Integration will become easier because many of our core systems have APIs already. If not, then somebody has to work on it. But the most interesting new task is this whole testing and training task. We built these very successful models. We were testing one very interesting model the other day, and somebody threw a completely left field question at it, completely out of syllabus question, and it gives an answer, right? But it's not supposed to give an answer. It's supposed to say, I'm not, So those are the kind of things you have to do, right? Through testing, through rigorous testing. Or you ask, a customer-facing AI tool for some competitor comparison. Why is X person's insurance policy better than the other ones? Or why is X person car better than Y brand's car, right? And now this answer that it gives cannot just be what the normal LLM answer is, right? Because it's my brand's answer to you now. So how do I train it to that? That is relatively new. I think we are all familiar with it, but it's very difficult. See, normally testing was always in our hands, right? We used to build a solution, and you would have a testing, either you would have a third-party testing agency or you have a testing team internally. And when you did the testing, whatever it would, you would make it do the function it was supposed to do. Whatever errors came were documented. Here the problem is because of the stochastic nature of the tool, you don't actually know what errors it will throw up. The errors here actually happen on the happy path, not on the edge cases. Most of the errors in the previous system used to happen in the edge cases because that's where we had not thought of. Those are things we had not thought of. Here, all the actually the most dangerous errors happen on the happy path, not on the edge cases. Edge cases, of course, also have errors, but both those are easier to train out. But they happen on the happy path. So how do you train out errors in the happy path? It actually is an art form, and it's not within our control because you need business users and you need end users. You may need, we are building one application which is for roadside mechanics. Now you need to ask them, like when they are speaking to the agent, what all kind of randomness can happen. It'll be noisy, rain, bad network. You have to create all those type of conditions and then test, right, and train the model. So that kind of stuff is not easy to do as a tech function, right? There's no, call XYZ vendor, get the testing done. That task is a more complicated task. Obviously, we haven't, I think, fully even understood all the cyber risks. There are some of them which are known, which I think we can obviously deploy and safeguard against. So that's an evolving space. Then there's a whole capabilities building space. There are a few skill sets which are important and new, which are not there. I would say that in general, what I have at least observed with the whole AI revolution in a sense that's happening around, that a disproportionate importance is being given to data science and a disproportionate unimportance is being given to product management, whereas actually it should be the other way around probably because you actually need a lot of product management. You need very sophisticated product management capability. At least we are seeing that in the deployments. We have even new roles like what these call forward deployment engineers, who are actually product management folks with a really user bent, the most agile product managers really, right, who can really go into the user's head and understand what all the user wants and actually deploy it immediately into the tool. As you know, coding the tools is much easier, but getting the user exactly what they want is actually harder because it's not a deterministic solution. So if you put all the roles together, many of these are relatively new because the people have not actually built these skills, and they're not taught in college, they're not taught in engineering thing, and not even taught in the IT companies, etc. So where are these schools going to come from? Who are these people going to be? Who are going to do this work, and do we have to train them ourselves? And I would say we have an opportunity today. We should be training these people ourselves, because the people who are the most knowledgeable people I have found right now in the ecosystem are coming from the AI vendors, because their life depends on it. So they would not have a job tomorrow if they. So they are the ones who are actually going and deploying, and whatever that requires, training, testing, integration, everything. They are the ones breaking their heads on it and learning. They are literally the most knowledgeable people in the industry today. No consultant, no tech, no SI, no tech team, etc. has the knowledge that these guys have. That's actually where we go to learn from. That knowledge has to obviously transcend into our functions, because ultimately we have to own these solutions and build on them. So that when we absorb that knowledge, how do we absorb that knowledge? We can't be observers in this, we have to actually absorb the knowledge. So these skill sets I think we are going to need, and we're going to find them and need to start building some of these. And they are all going to learn by doing. Right? We could send them to the US for training, but then problem is by the time they come back here, then all that opportunity would have been lost. So it's better to just learn on the job here and continuously read the literature which is coming out of the US so that you can keep yourself abreast of what are the latest and greatest ways of cracking some of these problems. Last slide. I could spend half an hour presenting this, but I will not because time is up. But just a few learnings to leave you with, which is point number one. It's fancy language, but all we are saying is pick one high business impact use case out of the 6 or 7 that you will have in the company, and let's make it a success by the end of this year. Success means that we have proven that the EBITDA increase run rate that we are contributing through that initiative is more than a certain value. And this was always important, but I would say it's disproportionately important now because of this potential skepticism that will come in if we don't actually do this. Second is, there are many partners out there. It is very hard to tell who has got a good solution, who doesn't have a good solution. So what we are doing in client situations is we are actually running parallel POCs. We give them identical working conditions and say, let's run in parallel. It seems like a big headache, but actually it's worth it because you see dramatically different results which you could have never told from the presentation. We have seen results as high as 3 to 4x in terms of performance, and presentations were exactly same. Everyone was making the same claim. So, and the good thing is these POCs can be done in a few weeks, and the solution that you get in the POC can be immediately scaled up. So that is the good thing that that you have. And then finally, I would say there's a bit of a governance structure that has to be put around this because we want to manage the risks. So there's a little bit of a governance structure that's required with the cyber side, privacy side, etc., which I think one should do as an act of abundant caution. It's better to have more checkers than makers in this if required, so that we protect ourselves, obviously, and de-risk some of this. But we should not do anything which holds back the innovation, because we are only going to learn by trying. But we have safeguards. We know the risk. As long as we know the risk, at least it's been called out. Now we are talking in the known risk, not the unknown risk area. We are okay with that. We know how to manage a known risk. And then finally, obviously, we have to build up the teams. And there are a whole lot of general transformation lessons which we may be tempted to forget because we think this AI is some new magical tool. It's not. The same lessons of digital transformation, like having a ring-fence team, giving them stretch targets, budgeting in an agile manner, agile way of development, all of those lessons are still applicable here also. The change management required, etc. All of the same tools are required. Senior management sponsorship, right? Someone from the senior leadership taking a big target on this number, otherwise the business impact won't get delivered. All those lessons are applicable here also. In our excitement, we may forget them, so I'm just putting it as a reminder, right? That those are not, they are still applicable. And my sense is that exactly the same pattern is going to be followed like it was for digital transformation. But I am hopeful that here we will have many more, disproportionately more high business impact case studies, and that we will start to see them much sooner because everything is happening in AI much sooner. So I'm hoping that we have 50 of these by the end of the year. I'm done.